Hello guys, in this video I will be discussing about the best dual SIM Android smartphones that you can buy. So the first is Motorola Moto G 2015 version. The specs of this phone has a 5.0-inch LCD display with HD resolution and 294 of ppi. It has a 1.4 GHz Qualcomm Snapdragon 410 processor, 2 GB of RAM and 8 and 16 GB of storage. It has two variants actually, with 1 GB of RAM and 8 GB of storage, and 2 GB of RAM with 16 GB of storage. You will get a 13 megapixel rear camera and 5 megapixel front camera and a non-removable battery with 2470 mAh and Android 6.0 Marshmallow. The next phone in the list is the Blue Life 1X. It is a phone from Blue brand. Its specs are 5.2-inch LCD display with full HD resolution and 424 ppi. It has 1.3 GHz octa-core MediaTek MT6753 processor. It has 2 GB of RAM, 16 GB of storage and can be expanded up to 64 GB. It has a 13 megapixel rear camera and a 5 megapixel front camera, and the battery is 2900 mAh. Android 5.1 Lollipop is supported. And the next phone in the list is Honor 5X. This phone has a 5.5-inch IPS LCD display with full HD resolution and a 401 ppi. It supports 1.5 GHz octa-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 616 processor, 2 GB of RAM, 16 GB of storage and can be expandable up to 128 GB, 13 megapixel rear camera and a 5 megapixel front camera. It has a non-removable battery of 3000 mAh and Android 5.1 Lollipop is supported. So the next phone in the list we have OnePlus 3. It is because it has a 5.5-inch optic AMOLED display with full HD resolution and 401 ppi. It has a 2.2 GHz quad-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 820 processor. It has 6 GB of RAM. It has 64 GB of onboard storage and no microSD expansion. It has a 16 megapixel rear camera and a 8 megapixel front camera. It has a non-removable battery of 3000 mAh. Android Marshmallow is supported. So the next phone in the list is OnePlus X. It has a 5-inch AMOLED display with full HD resolution, 441 ppi. It has a 2.3 GHz quad-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 801 processor, 3 GB of RAM, 16 GB of onboard storage and can be expandable up to 128 GB, 13 megapixel rear camera and 8 megapixel front camera, 2525 mAh of non-removable battery and Android 5.1.1 is supported. Next phone in the list is Alcatel One Touch Idol 3, 5.5-inch. So it has 5.5-inch IPS LCD display with full HD resolution and 401 ppi. It has 1.5 GHz Cortex A53 and a 1 GHz Cortex A53 Snapdragon 615 processor. It has a 2 GB of RAM and it comes in two variants, that is 16 GB and 32 GB storage, and the microSD expansion is up to 128 GB. It has a 13 megapixel rear camera and a 5 megapixel front camera. The battery is non-removable with 2910 mAh. Android Marshmallow is supported. The next we have in the list is the Samsung Galaxy S7 and S7 Edge. It has 5.1-inch Super AMOLED display with 2560 into 1440 resolution, that is extreme, and a 577 ppi. It has quad-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 820 processor, 4 GB of RAM, 32 GB of onboard storage and can be expanded up to 200 GB. It has 12 megapixel rear camera and a 5 megapixel front camera. It has non-removable battery of 3000 mAh. Android 6.0 Marshmallow is supported. So the next phone in the list we have the super awesome LG G5. It has 5.3-inch IPS LCD display with 2560 into 1440, same as the S7 and S7 Edge, and the 554 PPI. It has Qualcomm Snapdragon 820 processor with 4GB of RAM, 32GB of storage, and can be expanded up to 200GB. It has a 16 megapixel and an 8 megapixel dual rear cameras along with 8 megapixel front camera, and the battery is removable, 2800 mAh. It has Android Marshmallow supported. So the next one in the list, we have Samsung Galaxy Note 5. It has 5.7-inch Super AMOLED display with 1440 into 2560 resolution with 518 ppi. It has Samsung Exynos 7420 processor, which is good. It has 4GB of RAM, comes in two variants, that is 32GB and 64GB, and cannot be expanded. It has 16 megapixel rear cam and a 5 megapixel front cam, and it has non-removable 3000 mAh battery and Android 6.0 Marshmallow. The next one in the list, we have Huawei iMate 8. So complicated name it has. So in this phone you get a 6-inch IPS NEO LCD display with Full HD resolution and 368 ppi. It has 2.3 GHz of octa-core high silicon Kirin 950 processor, comes in 3GB and 4GB RAM variant and a 32GB and 64GB storage variant, and can be expanded up to 128GB. It has 16 megapixel rear and 8 megapixel front and a 4000 mAh non-removable battery and Android Marshmallow. So these are the phones that you can buy today, and these are the best dual SIM Android smartphones. If you don't have any budget issue, then you can go with any of these. So that's all today. Please like, subscribe and share. Thank you.